Good afternoon, everybody. We are live. We skipped last week, so I had to remember how to stream. But welcome to the Cloud Native Coffee Hour, and we have some fun content. I know it's been too long. But like normal, I have Dan McCracken here with me. I have Sam with me. Dan, you just went on vacation, so you should be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I went on vacation and then nothing happened. It was great. Nothing happened when I left. So I feel very needed, and I take that as a compliment. And I was hacking on some stuff on vacation. I had some downtime, and that'll be some of what we talk about today.
You did that on vacation. Oh, that'll be okay. I didn't know you did it on vacation. That's a weird time to do it.
A lot of time. Hacking on vacation, dude. When else am I going to do it?
In any other time. Sam, how are you?
Good. Yeah, can't complain.
All right. You have lots of stuff to talk about.
He's holding back.
Talk about on stream.
No, don't worry about it. The internet doesn't need to know. Sam's having the best time of his life.
Lots of things going on.
He's a young man. Look at him. Let's go.
All right. Let's kick it off. So, before we get into our topic for the day, the new Kubernetes 1.24 is coming out, and the long-awaited removal of Dockershim is happening, which is, I think it's a pretty big deal, and I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome because I feel like in so many enterprise-grade products, because enterprises move slow, they tend to hang on to legacy features, and getting rid of Dockershim is a big deal. Big legacy feature that is like the backbone of Kubernetes for so long. It's really cool.
Yeah, I remember when that first was announced. I feel like it was in 1.20 or 1.21, and they're like, no more Docker for Kubernetes. Or maybe it was earlier, but that's when I remember it. And at the time, I was like, what? What do you mean? And here we are, getting older, and Kubernetes is also getting older with us. You'd love to see it.
Right. And for those that don't know, they replaced it with the container runtime interface, right? CRI. I always call it CRI, so whenever I have to break down what are those called? What's it called when you take a word and you make it letters instead?
Break down an acronym?
An acronym, thank you. Whenever I have to break down an acronym, I'm like, I said that right? Yeah, so they basically wanted to make the container runtime, meaning container D, cryo, Docker. I think there was one a while back called like Rocket. I can't remember.
Definitely.
Was it Rocket?
Yeah.
They wanted there to be variety in terms of what Kubernetes could utilize to run containers. And the way Kubernetes was written is that it had to be Docker for a very long time, and they wanted to make it pluggable. So they designed the container runtime interface, but to maintain legacy backwards compatibility, they kept the Dockershim available, but no more. So now it's all CRI driven, and it's going to clean up the code base a ton, which you love to see.
Question. Stupid question,
Yes.
Because that's what I ask. Okay, so on our Pis, if we wanted to upgrade to 124, can't use Docker anymore?
You can use Docker, but it's going to go through container D.
Okay.
Right?
So, right, that's the thing. It's getting rid of Docker, but your Docker images, you still run them. You're just going to run them with a different container runtime that adheres to the standards, and right?
I get that. I understand that piece.
Okay.
Dockershim, is that the thing that allowed, if I do, like when we install a container runtime on our Pis as the container runtime for Kubernetes, we do apt install Docker or whatever. The removal of Dockershim, does that mean, I guess this is my stupid question, does that mean then that you can't use Docker? And we have to just, apt install containerd, which I'm completely fine with. I'm trying to pull it down into reality.
Let me answer the question
Go ahead.
with not a direct answer.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how to directly answer your question, actually, which I feel silly about. But what I can say that I know for certain is that Docker, at the same time Kubernetes wrote the CRI, Docker worked hand in hand with the team and ended up ripping out all of the core functionality that made containers work, and they named it Containerd. So the Docker team actually created Containerd, and the proprietary Docker that everybody's used to using actually uses Containerd to do its thing. So that's why most Kubernetes installations today just use Containerd, because it contains all the functionality that it depended on. But to use Containerd, you have to go through the CRI, and there you go. But the Dockershim, I think, was, it was like the CRI version 1 that was hard coded to the Docker API.
Okay,
that makes sense.
That does make sense, and I think I accept that. I think that makes sense in my mind. And VR is saying, Containerd is the Dockershim backbone. Agree. I'm definitely with you there. I'm just getting down to the practical nature of it, and I think the way you said it is correct. Like, you wouldn't install Docker. You now need to use Containerd proper.
That's the part I don't know.
Okay.
Like, I know that, yes, you can use Containerd and should use Containerd and have to use Containerd going forward, but in older versions of Kubernetes, or I guess even in newer versions of Kubernetes, can you still just use Docker because it implements Containerd?
Right.
My guess would be yes.
Yeah, maybe. Because I'll tell you, I know Docker CLI, Docker CLI, which all of the other CLIs basically do that stuff, but you're just so used to writing, Docker run and Docker PS and all that, Docker images, which you just alias away. You alias away your new, like when we did the stream when we did that with Sam, when you just alias away nerdctl to Docker. It's like, really? I mean, I don't actually like that suggestion, but people do it. I hate using cry cuddle though. And I guess that's what I'm selfishly getting, why I'm asking this question. Do I have to use cry cuddle for everything now? Kind of pisses me off.
It feels like most things use it now. Whenever I visit a new cluster, it's always Containerd with cry cuddle.
Maybe what we talk about later, we can build some helpers to make me not so whiny about it.
Okay, so what else? There's let's see what else. CSI volume health monitoring. I'll be honest, I'm so busy now I don't keep up on the latest stuff, so this going over it real quick at the beginning of the stream is mostly for me.
Well, that's why we
CSI volume. Yeah.
Do you want me to pull it? Do you want me to pull this up?
Sure.
I'm half driving.
I posted it in the news channel. I woke up this morning and saw it, and I was like, "Oh, this is something we can talk about at the beginning of the stream."
You want to post the link in Twitch chat? Wait. Just tell me the link.
I'll post it in Twitch chat.
Good enough.
Here you go. Twitch chat. Boom.
All right, don't switch to me yet. Keep talking. Talk amongst yourselves.
All right, CSI volume health monitoring. This actually sounds awesome. I haven't seen any demo of it or what it actually looks like, but it sounds great. Being able to load a sidecar that checks for the health of a persistent volume. Now cluster administrators will be able to react better and faster to events like a persistent volume being deleted outside of Kubernetes. Sounds great.
Does sound good. You can pull it up.
All right.
Yeah, this Sysdig post, I was reading this morning when you sent it around. Fantastic. They really break it down into why should you care? Thank you. Why don't all the release notes just do that?
I know. Because, I mean, honestly, the Kubernetes release notes are massive.
Yeah.
Absolutely massive. All right. Network policy status. Yes. Please bring more user-friendly features like this one. It is a container security best practice to create network policies that follow a zero trust approach. However, sometimes you get a difficult to debug error and you end up opening your policy more than you desire. Being able to debug these situations will make Kubernetes clusters more secure. Another feature I feel like we have to actually like play with to understand its impact.
Well, and I don't know what Sam's thinking about this, but when we did a lot of the killer SH when we were doing the Kubernetes security certification, CKS, and this did feel just awkward, and I'm terrible. I did awful. Sorry, I did awful at network policy stuff because it felt like you were just blind. Like testing it was a pain in the butt. So if they make any of the testing usability better, I mean,
right. I think
thank you.
As far as testing, I'm pretty sure I was trying to curl from, one pod to another, but obviously, in a production environment with production images, you're probably not going to have curl.
Ideally.
Right. So, be interested to check that out and then maybe go back to killer SH and see, what those problems look like now with that.
Yep.
The last two are interesting. Windows operational readiness definition and tooling convergence. Just reading the little snippet here is interesting. Since it was introduced in Kubernetes 1.14, Windows support keeps growing release after release, opening Kubernetes up to more companies that wouldn't use it otherwise. With a standard that Kubernetes 1.24 defines, it'll be easier to compare Windows support between Kubernetes vendors. Hopefully this will make adopting Kubernetes in these environments a bit less uncertain.
People use Windows?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I would say the companies that we work with that have Kubernetes are mostly Windows companies, but they don't run any Windows servers as part of their.
Wow. Yeah.
Window what? That was VR Linux. I don't want to take credit for that joke. Kubelet expose out of memory metrics. This is one tiny improvement that doesn't qualify for an enhancement, but it will have significant repercussions. Starting with 1.24, the kubelet offers a new Prometheus metric that registers the number of out of memory events that have occurred in a container. Hey, anybody say the word Java?
Java. Sorry, is he here?
This offers more visibility on a reoccurring problem in Kubernetes operations when the memory limits don't meet the container usage and needs. With this new metric, the SRE can have a better understanding of the final cause of the problem and determine if it's reoccurring. This is awesome. This is awesome. Something that I like. There's something that I push a lot is the HPA. I feel like a lot of enterprises don't use the HPA, meaning the horizontal pod autoscaler. And when you use an HPI, it completely changes how you think about your requests and limits. It completely changes it because now you have to set your. Go ahead.
You have to think about it. Right. I mean, it matters a lot, and that's the feedback loop that you're kind of missing as a developer. Really, if you're an app developer deploying to Kubernetes, and let's say you're not in a product vertical where you really don't care. HPA gives you a reason to care. And if you've got that incentive baked into the feedback loop of the development cycle, but now we're talking, that's a good system. So I'm a massive fan.
I'm just reading what VR wrote here. Freedom from IBM. The dream. Although, didn't IBM buy JetStack?
Did they?
They bought Cert Manager, didn't they?
Oh. I don't know.
Rumors. Not great, Bob.
CNCF acquisitions.
That's a good one.
Anyways, yeah, I'm pretty sure IBM bought Cert Manager, and this was like a year ago.
Right. Cert Manager, but not JetStack.
Oh no, they bought JetStack. Like JetStack is an IBM company now. And didn't they buy Red Hat too? Who bought Red Hat?
IBM.
That's true.
Yeah. So they have like OpenShift and they have Cert Manager. Crazy. Maybe they'll pull a Microsoft and completely change their I don't know, their image. Monkus. All right, so that is all I wanted to talk about with the release notes. Other than that, I think we can jump into your little project apparently that you did while on vacation.
Yeah, so well, everybody, why don't you get all the way off? I need you to get all the way off my back about it. Heaven forbid I do whatever the hell I want on my vacation.
Right.
Go figure. The short personal story, because, I share all my personal stuff on the internet. Unlike Sam, who doesn't share anything personal on the internet. I share my personal stuff. And so does Makita. But my son was sick. And he was just awful sick. And you hate to see it. But I took one for the team. And I said, you know what? I'm going to hang out in the mountains of Tennessee. In the cabin. With blazing fast internet. It was awesome, by the way. And amazing vistas. I'll take one for the team.
Uh-huh.
Surrounded by amazing vistas and beer and snackies. I'll take one for the team. You girls, you go to Dollywood today. We're going to go to Dollywood on Wednesday because he's going to be better. I swear to I promise. Because we're going to just chill. And me and Mr. Sean, we had a great day. He got better the next day. He literally bounced back. And I did some hacking. So while I was there, because I had a lot of time, because he was like sleeping and stuff. And I brought my computer because I don't know. I love it. And one of the things that, let me get to the point. One of the things that we've been talking about that comes up from time to time, and we've been interacting with different clients. Many of us have been interacting with different clients, and it's like you immediately run into the problem of, how do I share this work center with another teammate? How do I make sure? How do I get access? How do I explain access to another teammate so that I can go on vacation and somebody else can, get to systems and have tools to fix things or look at things or diagnose or to continue development? That's the essence of the problem. Like that problem has existed, and it's been something that I've wanted to get better at, just understanding good ways of doing it. We love work centers. You and I. We all three of us love talking about work centers because that frame. We
overuse that word.
I don't think so.
It. No?
I think, sure, but I don't care who knows it. The Work Center frame comes from Phoenix Project. Phoenix Project being a book, came out by the dudes back in like 2010, 2009 or whatever. Early DevOps days, or maybe it's later. Early
Gene
DevOps.
Kim, Jez Humble.
There you go. Gene Kim, Jez Humble. And they talk about lean manufacturing and work centers being in manufacturing. Hey, you walk up to that machine where you've got your screws over here and you've got the rods over here. I'm talking Satisfactory now, baby. But you get the screws and the rods, and then you put them in the machine, put your hands up here or whatever, and then, a work center. That's how that machine works. I can function. I can do whatever this function is because I'm trained in the work center of that particular machine. You take that framing into technology, any technology, DevOps being a great example, or development, and you say, in this company, because every company is a little bit different in how they function. Even every company that says they do Java is a little different. And they say, and you can create a Java development. Let's use Java development. You can create a Java development work center in your company. And that might involve installing IntelliJ. It might involve downloading IntelliJ plugins that everyone on the team uses so that you have this common language, these common tool sets, and it involves access to Bitbucket or GitHub repos or whatever. It involves access to servers and access to CI/CD. This work center. And when you onboard somebody, you got to train them in all of these little aspects of your work center. It's so simple. You do it, but the framing of work center, I don't think you can overuse it. I swear. I don't see anybody else overusing it, so I'm going to continue to do it. And so, in for Devs Operative, yeah, no,
I'm sorry, that's just some McCrackenism. I've been talking for a long time, and where was I going with this?
No,
and
I know exactly.
So,
I know exactly where I was going, but I am cognizant of my ability to rant a little bit, especially Slabby will tell me. At any rate, we have that here. DevOps has a ton of work centers. It's actually the problem. You have work centers for Terraform, like we talked about that. Like that's a whole mindset shift. I'm not going to read the chat. Thank you. I am going to read it. You got work centers for Terraform. And what I wanted to focus on was creating a solution, because this isn't a novel idea, but I wanted to create a solution that gets you into a DevOps toolkit, not to steal DevOps Toolkit, the YouTube channel, but gives you that set of tools, really low friction. You're onboarded and you can just do stuff. Like you can operate. And one of the ways, I think I want to start the conversation with, there's actually a couple ways to think about it. The way that I started hacking on this weekend was one way, or this last week, which is developing a Docker container or a container image that you could spin up and shell into anywhere on anybody's machine. And you can have the same looking environment. You have the same tools. You could upgrade the tools. You could test your upgrades of the tools. You could add little helper methods and little furl commands and all sorts of stuff, right? And kind of really develop a nice little tool set for your team. The other method, and this is where, Makita, famously known for loving setting up his machine and does it all the time, loves wiping his machine. Let's say maybe not anymore, but he used to love wiping his machine and then resending it up and be like, hey, check out my setup now. Like, yeah, I need to type. I need to do stuff. But he loves it. He's really good at it too. Taught me a lot. Is setting up your Box and Vagrant. Setting up your local workstation, like your Mac terminal, your, whether you're using Xterm or Alacrity or whatever the things are, terminal, which I liked. You can get everything installed. You can brew install all the things. And okay, and there are pros and cons to having everything on your local workstation versus this other methodology of, hey, let's use a Docker container that everybody just kind of shells into and uses locally to normalize the work center. Where do you guys stand on that?
I am on the fence about it personally. These are my honest thoughts. I'm not trying to sell anything on this stream. So my thoughts are split. For the last 2 years, I've been on a team that has a Docker container, like you're describing.
Yeah.
It is very helpful when you're dealing with, some internal, compute provider that, requires a whole bunch of, environment variables being set and all sorts of things like that. Very helpful. But it's also really annoying when there isn't a work center for extending said environment. That makes it so, if you want to add a new tool, you add the tool, you do a quick apt install of that tool or whatever, and you have it for your session, but then you killed your container. And you spin back up the container, and now that tool's gone, as well as a lot of your persistence or whatever, any environment variables that you set and all that kind of stuff. Because hopefully you're sharing a mounted file directory, so your files are still there, but the state of your environment is gone and changed. Some other problems that I run into, if you are, let's say, using K9s and you want to port forward a service, now you're double port forwarding. And usually if I have to port forward, I'm gonna just pull, I'm gonna grab the kube config to my local and then run it there, because I don't want to have to mess around with not only port forwarding the pod, but now I have to port forward the container I'm working in. Kind of a pain in the ass. Other things like tmux. I'm a big Vim tmux user, so I have tmux installed on my terminal. But if I'm, bashed into a container environment, now if I'm going to use tmux, I'm going to have to spin up multiple containers for each pane. Or there's like an inception issue where how do you get tmux inside the container working separately from tmux outside the container? And there's just a lot of headaches. So yes, I am still a proponent of having a brew file on Mac. I love my Mac for this type of work. You have a brew file, you pull down your brew file from a GitHub repo as part of your dot files. I have a whole dot files setup where I just pull down a repo called dot files, and there's like a setup script that actually does soft links to all the right spots. And then I run a brew install, and I point it to my brew file, and it just installs everything I need, and it's local, and it just works way better. But I love your idea of a work center, and maybe these are problems that can be solved. There's my take. My long rant.
Yes. So I agree with a lot of what you both said. Obviously, I love dot files too. So yeah, the idea of having that image that you can use in a similar fashion, and maybe even extending it if you're just using from, dev's operative base image, and then add my flavor in. I feel like that's a way to extend it. But yeah, there are some of those things where I don't know. I haven't had to run into it because obviously I'm not using it day to day like that. But yeah, the inception issues, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is for that. But in general, I like it. And in general, I think it's a good thing that when you go in, you change whatever, you do some apt install, that it's not there, because it's an immutable, it's infrastructure as code, for your work center. So you create a PR and you add, hey, apt install, or however you're installing whatever tools, and you add that, and then it's there for everybody.
Yeah,
I don't disagree. Sorry, I'll just follow up with that really quick, and that's that. Like, I think a problem I have, and I is that I'm just very opinionated and creative when it comes to my terminal. So I install things like Fish or ZSH for my terminal language or whatever, or my shell. I'm sorry, it's called a shell. And I like my command line to look a certain way. I even like my font to be a certain font and things like that. So whenever I'm working inside one of these shared environments, I just feel like I'm on somebody else's computer. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I don't discount all of the benefits that you just said, Sam. So go ahead, McCracken. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it back to my day-to-day workflow, and I'm interested in what other people in the chat use or prefer, or if they have never thought about it, that's fine too, because this is kind of like, most people are like, who freaking cares? I just want to get my code done. Day-to-day I work in I would say just in a hybrid. Like, it is super useful to have the Swiss Army knife container at the ready, and it serves a very specific purpose when I need it. And then in all the other times, I'm using tmux, I'm using all the plugins for Fish, and because I couldn't live without how it does completion and historical. Like, I guess I just kind of got trained in that and wouldn't give it up. But having the ability to just say, let me pull this out real quick. Watch something non-threatening. A wallet. Let me pull this out really quick and get it done, or test it really quick over in this environment that is my machine, but it isn't my machine. It's this has got Helm version 5.5 on it, or 3.5. Not 3.02 like I was running, or something terrible. It's something that's up to date. it's kind of a known, serves a purpose, but it doesn't have to be the end all be all. I agree with Makita. I actually wrote down in my little readme here some of the downsides of like using this as your main zone. Yeah, it's kind of stupid. Like you have a machine, you have, a Mac or whatever, like just use it. But I think it's super useful to quickly test, are my versions incompatible or whatever, like, and to be able to have that toolkit of, hey, this has got Helm, this has got kubectl, this has got everything, some other helper things maybe. It can be a very useful tool. And it was for those reasons, and for the reason of, I kind of want to improve my Dockerfile writing abilities, Dockerfile skills. And I don't need that big of and this is just kind of a good fake because to dig into it. Yeah. So I think, yeah.
So in the same way, like, when we were, 4 or 5 years ago, when we were really first diving into dot files, and we were just kind of diving into our development work center for everyone on the team, right? I wouldn't say that having like one common dot file for everyone on the team is the way to do it, right? So similarly, it's the way to hand somebody that's new, or to like level the playing field of like, hey, is it your setup that is the reason why it's not working? Yeah. Well, let's just run it in the team container and make sure that it's not your local setup that is for some reason making something wonky. I think it's great for those kind of things, and even potentially bootstrapping somebody to be able to know what to do locally. Well, they can go look at that Docker file and see that, hey, this is how you install this. This is, what I'm installing, or whatever, what the team recommends as a baseline. It's similar to a lot of those things where it's like, maybe the team's supported decision is this flavor IDE with these plugins, but you know what? I like something else better, and I'm going to use that unless I have to. So.
Right. Unless I tell you to, or you're fired. That kind of stuff. Because that's how we
roll. CTO does.
Let's remember where all the power actually is.
I still think it's awesome. And I was just sharing my opinion. I would love to see what you came up with, because I've thought about it. I've thought about, hey, what if I set up a Docker container with everything I like? What if it had my fish? What if it had my fonts? What if it had all these things that I use on a day-to-day basis? Might be kind of cool to just be able to go anywhere. Even if you went to a Bastion server, and then you pull down your container from there, and now you have your entire working environment. You don't even have to mess around with doing things on the server. I think that could be really cool. I've just never took the time to do it. I took the time to create dot files and my bash profile or whatever, my fish profile, my Vim profile. I have all of these little things, and I never took it to the next step of a Docker file.
So, what's the one thing you would put in the container that every good Kubernetes engineer needs to have?
NeoVim.
Other than NeoVim.
kubectl.
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 And I think I got it to work. But man, it was just getting kubectl installed. It's kind of wonky. So, this could go on. Well, let's get into it. First decision point. Number one, first decision point is I followed the best practices here in docs.docker.com, which everyone should do. And I actually, learned a lot. I mean, it was a nice reference to use. Let me see what sort of fidelity we have. I wish this... Want me to blind everybody? Sorry. I referenced this document, And the first thing you kind of have to think about when creating a new Docker image. Yeah. Build context. Okay. Yeah. Where do they talk about the from? You have to decide where you start from. And that is a deep hole to go down. That's a deep hole of opinion. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. There's all sorts of, we can get into all this. Everybody knows these things. From. Whenever possible, use current official images as the basis of your images. We recommend Alpine as tightly controlled and small in size, currently under 6 megabytes, while still being a full Linux distribution.
What package manager does Alpine use? Does it use apt? Apt? Yum? APK?
Don't know.
VR
Okay.
Linux just answered. He said it
Thank
uses
you.
APK.
Yes, APK. Thank you. It wasn't one that I was ultra familiar with, other than they're all basically the same. So, okay. I mainly am familiar with Ubuntu. And when I was doing this hacking on vacation, when nobody had any influence over me, I was stuck in the mountains with blazing fast internet and beer. And my son was taken care of. He was very, very safe. I chose Ubuntu, and I chose that because I knew how to frickin' use it. And it wasn't the biggest, but it wasn't the smallest. And I knew the whole time. You want to know something, Makita? The whole time I was picking Ubuntu, I was like, I'm making this decision, and that hat-wearing friend of mine, I know he's gonna be like, shouldn't pick Ubuntu. And I did it anyway. I didn't freaking care. I'm like, this is the one I know. I'm on vacation. I'm done. And it's just what I know. And it's not that big of a deal. It's just a container running on my machine. It's not like it's running in Kubernetes. I don't care how big it is.
Mm-hmm.
APK is used in Android. That's where I know it from. And so I chose Ubuntu. And let me get into trying to install kubectl on Ubuntu means you got to do stuff like this. There was, and stuff like this being apt-get update, apt-get install. You had to install apt transport HTTPS. You had to install CA certificate stuff. You had to install curl. And there was a best practice recommendation to anytime you do a run, chain it together and do an RMRF of this guy right here. You can find that in this awesome document. Or I'm pretty sure it's in this document about how to keep your image layers small and, just best practice. But in order to get at the stuff, to install kubectl through apt-get, you have to do what we do. Get this awesome key, do this deb thing, references the key, adds this apt repo, apt Kubernetes IO, Kubernetes Xenial, and then I can install kubectl. Now, there are other ways to install kubectl, but I just wanted to get it done. And I was I kind of did more reading than hacking. And I was like, I'm just going to see if I can get it to work the way I know. And I forget where I followed somebody's tutorial about getting it to install. And ultimately, I did, using this way. Thoughts? I'm not a huge fan.
I've done it that way many, many times. I don't think it's a bad way of doing it because they publish, the Kubernetes team or their GitHub actions or whatever.
Yeah.
They have all these pipelines set up that publish the latest versions of kubectl to all the different package repos and stuff. And if you do it this way, you don't have to worry about what version you're getting because you're just going to get the official latest stable version when you install it the way you're installing it.
Yep.
And you're using a trusted package manager. Yeah, I think it's great.
I believe there's an alternative way to just actually fetch via curl the whole thing and kind of just install it over the wire.
Yep. But I don't know if they have like an aliased link that's always pointing to latest or not, because then you're defining, hey, always pull down this version. So now you're gonna have to update your Docker file to the latest version all the time. And
well, that kind of gets to maybe I want to do that eventually anyway, so that I can control what versions of which tools are in this guy. But anyway, I built this. I actually built a build sh so that I could build it locally, and I'm willing to do a demonstration.
Not a make file though. You could have done a make.
Get out of here with that make file. You're gonna trigger me, son. Yeah, definitely CI/CD pipeline. That's a coming. I actually got into. I closed the tabs, but VR is asking about CI/CD. Yes, and that was actually the other reason why I was looking at some stuff. I need a fake because to do some more GitHub actions, which we've done, and I would love to be just building me some Docker images in GitHub actions and publishing. I need to get into that. I want to be in there, and I just want to exercise that that work center for myself. Building new work centers is a work center. So yes, Inception, and I don't care. I don't care what anybody says about it.
You didn't create a makefile for this?
Tilt.
God, I missed you guys so much. What the? Don't ask. I think I rebooted my machine. Oh my gosh. Don't ask.
He's
You
using.
know, if you had a
Docker.
makefile.
Don't just die. Make. Just keep
I bet VR uses make.
I guarantee it.
That's the answer.
Please. Oh, what do you know? I built really quick because I had already done it.
None of the layers changed.
They did not because I didn't make any changes. Boom, boom, boom. Everything's happy. Trust me, it worked. And I also saved my, hey, let's test it out. Really, I need to start a new. Please.
I'll be right back.
Bye.
He's perfect. He's gone. Now we're alone. Hello?
Let's see it.
Hello?
Search.
Sorry. I was losing control. And there you go.
Okay, so I was gonna ask, yeah, what are you doing as far as the kube config? But you're just mounting it via volume.
So you install kubectl. That's all happy. Once it's happy. And yes, I'm running it with an interactive shell. I'm installing a volume to share my local.kube config to root kube config. For better or worse, that's just where I'm at right now. And if we do that, just that. And you can see I'm running client 123.5, and I'm actually connected to another server, which is running a version of Kubernetes. Shall not talk about. And there you go. Done. It works. And I couldn't have been happier to get anything to work when I was in the mountains. But the next question is then, okay, cool. You
That's awesome.
have kubectl. Thank you. Yeah, ta-da! I guess that's the result of the entire demo. And you could definitely put this in a GitHub Action, CI/CD, publish it to wherever. Maybe GitHub Containers, maybe Harbor, running on not ARM, because we'll talk about that in another stream.
Gotta
And
get
so,
canines in there. Everybody
and
loves
so-
the canines.
it's like, okay, cool. I actually did this.
He just
Sweet.
ignored you, just straight up did not phase him.
No, I'm definitely down. So canines is absolutely the next tool. You know, if I was to pick, you know, from top to bottom, what's priority? Well, kubectl, canines, because please. And then look, I'm a convert. Makita's got me. Crew, I need it. I deserve it. Everybody deserves it.
You know what probably is the most important tool after kubectl? JQ.
It's gotta be up there.
JQ's in there. JQ for sure. Tree also.
Yes, tree for sure. I use tree all the time.
Tree is good. Bottom line in my dot files, line 160. Line 160. Docker quality. This is from VR. Docker quality of life. I'm not pulling it up on this machine. I'm sorry. Sudo docker run it.
Remove
bash.
entry.
Okay.
Ooh. Oh, I see what you're doing with the volumes. That's kind of cool. For Docker shell here. There's just so much you can do with this, and it's really interesting to see that. Like, talking about bootstrapping a developer as far as how many times have we seen people have issues setting up Java on their laptop?
Java's a whole nother beast.
Right. But with any of these things, right? If you could give someone a command like that where it's like Maven clean install here, and it mounts the source code that is in the current directory and runs it for them, and then, you know, publishes it locally or whatever so they can do what they need to do, so we don't have people, you know, saying it takes forever when it's like, oh, you know what you're doing.
I love the chat right now. It makes me laugh. But no, I 100% agree. Now you got me all excited.
Yeah, I mean, I think moral of the story is we just need to be doing more of this stuff. We do it once a week on stream, but it's like there's so many fun things that I want to work on, but I just don't make the time.
Well, then when are we going to do business development, Sam?
You gotta go on vacation. Go on vacation.
Once a week during our meeting.
Yeah, no, lots of things. I mean, you know, so my wife is not here right now, and it's my dog's let out time, and he's just staring at me. He does this thing that's really creepy. When it's his time to eat or go outside, he just like sits at a distance and just stares at you.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to ignore it. No, what you did here on vacation, Dan, man, I was getting super stoked about Rancher, RKE, Terraform, and I really wanted to like set up, like you said, GitHub Actions with a whole Terraform work center and really learn that. And then, you know, I started looking at the pricing for the cloud stuff, and I'm like, I kind of wanted this thing just to be out there running to play around with. And I was kind of looking at the prices. I'm like, I don't know if I want to pay that. I love our ARM thing. And then that kind of led you to talking about how you wanted to buy kind of like an old server on eBay, an enterprise server. I love that idea. I think we should do that. I want to learn Harvester. I want to hook Terraform up to Harvester and then start playing with GitHub Actions for Terraform on all that stuff. And then we could, you know, create GitHub Actions for what you have here as a work center for interacting with our lab and all that. I don't know. Sounds awesome. I totally want to do that. It sounds like a great summer project. Pull the trigger. Buy it.
It's done. JQ is installed. Turns out JQ is easy. Way easier than kubectl. What's the canines?
I think it's derailed / canines.
Is it?
Yeah.
I mean, I would just run the
Yep.
Docker container.
Yep.
And then try it. Yeah.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Just try canines.
Is it apt install or apt-get? Hang on. Is it the right slash? I'm gonna look at
Literally just try typing canines. Or I'm sorry, apt install canines. Nothing. Huh.
Yeah, doesn't look like they have that.
Oh, you're looking it up, Sam?
Yeah. They have a brew installed, but they don't have apt or anything.
Actually, I'll tell you what I use, Dan. I'll shoot it over to you. I use it inside that container that we always have to use, that I hate because it doesn't have canines. I use this. It's super simple. Where do you want me to send it? You want me to put it in the chat? I'll put it in the chat.
Sure. Curl and
That's what I
wget
use.
is also a super solid idea. Do I have curl?
Yes. Thank you, VR. I love you.
I do have curl.
You said wget. Wget is literally the best. I feel like so many people just use curl with like a whole bunch of arguments and stuff to make it behave the same as wget, and I'm just like, this is still wget. It just works way better.
Let me install wget so that Makita actually uses this sometime. Oh, the web install, Roger.
It's that link, that thing I sent you is only in the GitHub README. So go back a page. Go back a page. Click the GitHub.
You say that like I'm not gonna do it.
Do it. I don't trust you. Go down.
See what
more.
I have to deal with, people.
A little bit more. A little bit more. Yep. Oh, don't overshoot it.
Can we use chocolatey? Oh, it's a Windows thing. Why does Windows have such cool stuff? Scoop and chocolatey? Chocolatey scoop?
Webby. There it is.
Brew.
Webby for Linux. That's
hang on.
That ain't
gonna work. It's just, yeah. See, this is why I have the patience of a saint.
You're doing it wrong.
Oh, for sure. We'll create a whole separate layer just for this guy. Please. Loving it. I am totally loving it.
Oh, you also have to put it on your path, otherwise it just doesn't work.
That better been in the docs.
You could just scroll up. It's not in the docs. Just scroll up. No. Go back to your window. Scroll up in this terminal. Just scroll up in the terminal. It's right there. Can you not scroll in the terminal? A little more.
Got a lot of terminals, man.
Little more.
It's right here, right?
Okay, down a little bit more. There it is.
Should I do that in the run?
Maybe.
Will that work?
That will work. Yes, I think maybe.
No. I think there's a specific... Wait a minute. It is time to build a new keyboard. Isn't there a... My bad.
I know.
I
I
think
know,
there's
Jake.
a
It's time to go outside.
He's fine. What's he gonna do? Pee on your carpet?
I don't know
Jake-
if I can make my camera reach far enough.
Jake
Oh.
don't give a crap.
Hold on. Let me see if I can get a little shot of him.
He rips the cord out of his computer. We can only see a small blob. The lighting is not strong enough.
Can we see him? No?
No.
Not really. Oh no, did you delete your... What did you do? Oh no, Dan.
What?
Was everything working? I just looked back at what you're typing and it didn't look good.
Well, canines didn't work. Anyway, that could be because this was wrong. I think there just is an export, isn't there? See, here's where there is, actually. Let's take a look at the best practices. I think there is a Docker export. Maybe there's not.
There's env. Which is in general how you set the environment variables.
env, thank you. We could try that.
Maybe.
There's still some work to do here. And this is just some of the fun of... It's all the fun, isn't it?
There we go.
There you go.
That's an easy game. Okay. It's done with that. Boom. Next question. This is great. This is why I wanted to... Yeah. Dog. Oh, I thought he said solved. No. Doggo is not solved. Doggo has arrived, though.
He's very impatient.
There you go. And on it goes. I want to install... Thank you very much for that assist. I want to install crew. I want to install GCP Cloud Utils. I want to install some S3 stuff. Tree would be easy. S3 bucket stuff, so I can do a Valero demo for y'all at some point. Really fun.
Terraform should probably be on there.
Terraform shenanigans. Right. And it's just a nice way to try and show stuff, teach, and onboard new for all the reasons we already went over. So I appreciate all the assist, and I'm glad everybody's not like completely against it.
I'm checking out this Nala thing real quick.
Yep.
Nala is a front end for libbed apt package. Specifically, we interface using Python apt API. All right, I will have to look at this later. It looks really intense, but I will look at it. I appreciate it.
This does look intense. Okay. Nala. Just like the Lion King.
Parallel downloads, that's what you like to see.
You know, just a real quick question. I know we're wrapping up a little bit here. Real quick question. Yeah, I brought up Terraform. Yeah, as something to add to this thing, right? Would you want a Swiss Army knife container? Or do you want to create maybe a base container with all of like the base tools, like JQ, wget, whatever? Maybe kubectl falls into that too. But then, you know, if you're going to be doing Terraform work, maybe you have a secondary container that does a from on this one that then installs all the Terraform tools. So when you're working in Terraform, you bring up that container. But maybe, you know, if you're not working with Terraform, you don't use that container. You use, you know, something else. I don't know. I guess it depends on how you want to organize it.
Exactly. Prevents bloat.
You know, makes sense.
To a degree, yeah.
PC build. All right, ready? Everybody ready to puke? PC build is happening very soon. Wait, if I was really smart, I could, hang on. I am really smart.
That's true. We have all the pieces. Ordered them last week. They all came within a few days. Everything's ready to go. You opened the boxes.
I had
couldn't
to.
wait, could you?
Oh, it's all in reverse, but we've got everything. Got that sweet, sweet case, motherboard. Even got that. Oh, you can't see it very well, but it's that GPU right there, baby. Oh, let's go. Let's go.
So we will. We were targeting this Monday to do it, but for a multitude of reasons, we couldn't do it this Monday. There's potential, very small potential, that it might happen this Friday, but we have a prior engagement that could get canceled. So if it does, we might do the build instead. Otherwise, it might be next week, unless, Sam, you said you aren't going to be around.
We'll see. Figure it out.
Okay.
Well, we might have a
Figure it
special
out.
guest next week, too, if we can arrange it. We need to do some scheduling, and it might be at our normal time. It might not. If we can get the special guest, maybe we'll do a special stream for it. But I think it's right in the pocket of the content we've been delivering since the beginning, kind of going back to labs, home labs for Kubernetes, or real labs for Kubernetes. Got somebody we want to bring on who we've been working with, and it's just a fantastic person. And I think it's super smart. I love talking to him. So,
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Hopefully, we can maybe arrange something with his schedule.
As a quick teaser to it, there's a lot of approaches to having a home lab. I guess that's the teaser. There's a lot of approaches. Our home lab currently is a 12 node Raspberry Pi cluster. We're talking about buying some old enterprise stuff and installing Harvester and doing it that way with x86. This guy that we know and love, he used Intel NUCs, so the Intel version of Raspberry Pi that runs x86. They are very expensive in comparison. Raspberry Pi you can pick up for $35. We bought the $80 Pis with the 8 gigabytes of RAM, but the NUCs are like $200 to $300 or $730. I guess, depending on what you go for. And he bought several of them, so he kind of went big dollar NUC build. But that's kind of the spoiler of
2-core has RAM. Love it.
As an extra.
Oh, this is Walmart. I mean, the great American company. Doesn't tell you how much RAM. Anyway, see what's by the big iron, dude. Look at this. Look at this.
Get the big iron, dude. I'm ready.
Big iron like this. This is what we're gonna run Kubernetes on. Look at these.
No.
Sam likes this flashy stuff, dude. It's all about it.
Go to
Get out of
eBay.
here. All right. Get out of here. Anyway.
All right. Let's wrap up the stream. He is very anxious to go outside.
He's gonna pop.
He's gonna pop. He's full. So anyways, we're gonna wrap up the stream. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I know it was a little, it was a good stream. I like the stream. I like the content today. It was fun.
There you go.
We just
There
talked.
you go.
It was good. It's hard to balance my mind between we do a stream that has a very dedicated demo and all this stuff, and it's really cool. And then we have these streams that are a little bit variety hour.
Oh.
I actually enjoy the variety hour more personally.
Way easier.
So anyways,
Please
thank you for joining us.
Please let us know what you think in the Discord. Please join us there. Let us know what other stream topics you'd like. Sam, any parting words?
No, we'll see you next week or Friday.
Like and subscribe, and we'll get that working VR if that's a thing. Bang Discord.
We know a guy.
We have not been affiliated yet. We're working on it. We're busy people. Honestly, the stream can sometimes is hard to do because we have a lot going on. But we're working on it. Because to get affiliated, you have to do 8 days a month or in a rolling 30-day cycle. It's a lot to do 8 of these streams. But we're working on it. We'll get there.
Yeah, so if you ever see the stream light up, it's because we're trying to just do other types of streams. This is our main content. This is the Big Daddy. We get everybody together on Wednesday. But if you see stuff in the evening or whatever, it might just be one of us might be me doing weird stuff. I kind of talked about this a couple weeks ago, so we're working on it. That is our goal, and keep us honest, Snuffle Butt. I love you very much, and thank you for coming. Love saying
All right, guys. Have a wonderful Wednesday or Thursday, depending on where you're located in the world. We love you, and we'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.